EPA meteorologist Bobby Martin here with your outlook for December 21st, 2022. It is the first day of winter today, officially arriving at 4:48 p.m. today, and we have a big big storm, not a winter storm necessarily, but a big storm, very impactful storm coming in beginning tomorrow. The impactful day is going to be Friday, we think, though, but we have one more day of calamity with mostly sunny skies today for most of today, and temperatures maybe a couple degrees warmer than they were yesterday, but still very slightly below average. 35 to 43 is the temperature spread from northwest to southeast today with those mostly sunny skies today, and then clouds will increase overnight. Wednesday's video forecast is proudly sponsored by the Walters and Zrinski team at Keller Williams Real Estate, serving all of Lehigh, Northampton, and Carbon counties, as well as part of Bucks, Berks, and Schuylkill counties. Prices are finally beginning to level off in this market and in some cases go down, but inventory remains low. The Walters and Zrinski team, with over 20 years of full-time real estate experience, specializes in residential resale properties, working with buyers and sellers and real estate investors. With the mention of this ad, the Walters Zrinski team will offer a free 1-year home warranty for either the purchase or sale of your home or an equivalent credit or discount with any successfully closed real estate transaction. They can be reached at 610-867-8888, proud sponsors of the Wednesday video forecast. So again, nice day today. Increasing clouds tonight, still going to be chilly overnight tonight. We do have, as high pressure moves away, we have this precipitation moving in, what looks to be for at least our central and southern areas to come in during the morning hours on Thursday. So this is a little bit of a change. By having this coming in a little bit earlier, instead of just waiting to the afternoon, you're inviting some wintry stuff on the front end, okay? That's because the temperatures aren't exactly going to be warm on Thursday either, at least not initially. It will warm up eventually as we progress throughout the day, and that's going to be closer to midnight, actually. As we get throughout the morning here, you see some snow starting off in the mountains of central Pennsylvania, and there will be some snow across those areas and also far northern parts of Pennsylvania before we rapidly change over. In between, there could be some wintry mix just at the onset initially, and then that's going to go over to rain and primarily rain through Wednesday night. In between here, there's going to be a break in the action, we think, and where it's really not doing much of anything at all before the Arctic front that's behind here associated with this low pressure, including in the Great Lakes, is going to move through, and this is back here like this. It's going to come right through and crash our temperatures here on Friday. Now, we've been talking about flash freeze the last couple of days. Flash freeze, meaning the temperatures are going to rapidly go from well above freezing to below freezing in a very short amount of time. There is a saving grace with this, and I'm starting to look at getting a little bit more optimistic about this. I don't want to totally commit to it yet, but it's starting to look a lot better for the prospects of keeping ice off the roadways, okay? And I'll tell you why here in a second. First, here's the NAM high-res future simulated radar, and I'm going to start this off at 6 o'clock in the morning on Thursday. Clouds again increase overnight. You have this precipitation moving in from the south. And because it's coming in so early, you have some cold air in place initially. It's going to give you at least a brief wintry mix or some snow out here in parts of south central PA, and then it'll work its way northward. The warm air advection is pretty strong with this, though, so it's going to rapidly change over. So any of this stuff here in our central areas as we get into like areas like close to I-78 here, that might be a brief mix, some sleet pellets, maybe some very light icing, will be very, very brief, okay? And then it's going to go quickly over to rain, and this is going to continue off to the north rather quickly, so does the warm air advection. But you can see that goes from central PA here and goes all the way up into parts of northeast PA, at least the higher elevations of northeast PA. You might get a coating to an inch, maybe even 2 in a few spots out of that. We're not going to have a map for the front end stuff, I don't think. I'll talk to my staff about that. I don't think we're doing that today, but we're going to have a rain map out for this. But you see it quickly changes over as we get through the course of the day here in the afternoon, evening. And here's now looking at the overnight. You got some heavier rain embedded with this as it moves through during the evening and part of the overnight. And then we get this lull in here where you have nothing going on in between here. This is looking at very early in the morning on Friday. This is 5 o'clock in the morning. See this big gap in the middle here? At the same time, when you have that gap, you're going to have warming temperatures. Okay, you get that warm air advection surge, because this is basically acts as a warm front now with that low pressure already have moved through. So now you have nothing but warm air unabated coming into the middle here, and that's going to be, with that warm air advection, you're talking about wind gusts that are 20 to 30 miles per hour. until this precipitation gets here along the Arctic front. Now, this runs out of range, and I don't have the full scope of the 3-kilometer NAM, and it goes as far as here, and that's it. Okay, so there's a lead of that Arctic front all the way back here in western Pennsylvania, working its way eastward. But if we get enough clearing in between here, from the time the precipitation ends, if you get a solid 3-4 hours where the wind's blowing 20 to 30 mile per hour gust and it's not raining after this precipitation overnight exits, we could have enough time there the roads can dry out before the precipitation gets here with the front, because I don't think it's going to be a whole lot on there. You get a little bit. It's not going to be as treacherous as it would be if it went right from rain, and then snow and then end. Okay, we're going to have a break in here, so there is a possibility it won't be as bad as originally thought with that part of it. The flash freeze is still there, though. Okay, it's going to be a rapid temperature drop situation, so anything that is on the roads, cars, trees, driveways, sidewalks, is going to freeze rather quickly. Okay, and we will have some precipitation with this front for some parts of the area. This, again, runs out of range for the NAM, so we'll have to go over to a different look. Here, there's a 1-hour precipitation type on the European model, and it shows this transition as you go through here. Starts out, as soon as it comes in, you get rain, and then it goes over to snow, and you can see that here. But this is going to generally lift off in this direction. It's not going to go east. And because it's not going east, the areas across New Jersey, most of New Jersey is not going to see any back-end snow. Maybe some flakes here at the end, but nothing that would accumulate, certainly. It looks like the accumulation areas are going to be confined to these areas right here. Okay, those are your accumulation areas possible. And when I say accumulation, talking about maybe a coating to an inch. When you get up here in these areas, parts of Northeast PA, in the elevation areas, you might get 2 in a few of those spots, but it's not going to be a lot of snow on the back end. Okay, it's just going to change the snow as the temperatures are dropping, and then push through and lift off north. See which way it's going. It's going more north of east, well north of northeast here at this point, and it pretty much skips New Jersey here on the way out, so you're not going to have much there. So those areas will have some snow on the back end, we think, or at least flakes, and some coatings to an inch for most of those areas, like I said, but that's pretty much what we're dealing with the Arctic front. Okay, now here is what it looks like as we get to Thursday evening. Still not exactly warm. And you see our highs above me, 45 to 52 is the temperature spread from northwest to southeast on Thursday. But still, at dinner time on Thursday, it's still not that bad. It's still in the 30s and lower 40s at that point. Then we get this surge. Watch this surge come northward. This is with that warm air advection I talked about as that low pressure lifts off to the north. And then when you're getting that clearing early Friday morning. This is looking at 8 o'clock Friday morning. Look at these temperatures. Look at this surge that came in here. You got mid-50s in Philadelphia, mid to upper 50s South Jersey, and you got still lower 50s up in these regions too. So it's going to be a quick advection of that warm air as we ahead of this frontal boundary. But you can see off to the west here, there is a very sharp drop here when this moves eastward. This is going to come in, and you're going to know it came in because the wind's going to pick up like considerably and from a different direction, and you're going to have this temperature drop in 1 hour. That's going to go from 50s to below freezing in some cases, or pretty close to it, and then the next hour, if it doesn't do it the first hour, it'll certainly do it by the second hour. Okay, this is a very short process where it doesn't take long, out ahead of it, where you're going to get these really warm temperatures that are in the 50s, and then like look down here, right? This is Westchester's 53. The very next hour, 32. Very next hour, 26. Okay, this is going to be a 1, maybe 2 hour deal where it takes to go from the 50s, in some cases mid to upper 50s, all the way down to below freezing. It's not going to take that long. And this cold air does plow all the way through to the coast here, and then you get temperatures in the single digits in some places overnight. Man, it's going to be quite a shock. And that's why you see these rapid. If you look at the temperature forecast on the local forecast or any app forecast you have, it'll say highs in the 50s and lows around 10. I mean, it's going to be a pretty dramatic drop. That's some obviously over 40 degrees in a very short amount of time. Okay, so that's the flash freeze part of it. Again, holding hope out for the dry out that we're going to expect in between systems, between the Arctic front or the departing low overnight and then the Arctic front. It might be like a 3-4 hour window that might be a saving grace for the roadways. Here's what the European model does for total snowfall, and this is on the back end here. See it goes all the way down here like this. Might clip northwestern New Jersey, but that's it's really coating to inch above that line, and there's some areas up here across the higher elevations of the Poconos that might get a little bit over an inch to 2 inches there in that departing squall line, okay, as that moves through. With that squall line as it moves through, well, before I get to that, here's total rainfall for the system. Generally, an inch to an inch and a quarter. Some places go inch and a half or better in the higher elevations, but it looks like for most of us, it's generally an inch, inch and a quarter of total rainfall. And then here is the wind. This is the other bigger impact part of this system. So we have, go back here. So here's Thursday. Today's Thursday, and there's absolutely, on Thursday, I should say, not today is not Thursday. On Thursday, we're going to have very calm winds. And then overnight, we'll have a little low-level jet move through the region. It's going to increase winds during the late evening and early part of the overnight period. And then as that moves northward, behind that, we have these 20 to 30 mile per hour winds in that gap that I told you about, where we have the gap in precipitation between one and the next. Here comes the wind with the Arctic front, and that is expected to come through late morning, early afternoon, and then when it does, and you'll know when it gets here. You'll definitely know when it gets here. The wind's going to pick up like crazy. You have wind gusts here that are 40 to 45 miles per hour, maybe some isolated higher that, especially in elevations. And then you're going to have cold air, advection-related wind gusts of 25 to 35 or thereabout, continuing for several hours past this. This goes right through the overnight and into Saturday before this finally starts to slack off a little bit later in the day on Saturday. So it's going to be a long cold air advection push behind this, where you have a long duration wind concern. Not really so much high end. It was looking like we are going to get 50 plus. Now 50 plus is kind of backed off a little bit. It's more like between 40 and 50 that we could see some gusts that just for a short time when that front plows through. And when it does, then you have cold air advection related wind gusts 15 to 25 gusting to 35 miles per hour, 35 to 40 miles per hour behind it occasionally. So that's as the cold air comes in and settles in. That's going to last through Saturday. All right. So because of the long duration, it's not just the high-end wind gusts that power companies are concerned with. It's the long duration. It's the fact that it just rained and you have the soil's a little saturated. Before that, I know it's going to be frozen, but that'll aid in the branches, tree branches coming down a little, and trees coming down a little bit easier. Okay, so we'll have to watch for that. There will be some outages across the region. You can almost bank on it, and our clients that are power utility companies are prepared for that. Okay, so that's what this entire system is in a nutshell. I know I went through it kind of quick there, but that's all the impacts we're dealing with. This don't expect this to be a big snow event. Everything, there's other things other than snow that are really a concern with this. Rain is not really too bad, inch and a quarter. It's really the wind and it's the rapid temperature drop, and hopefully we don't have that precipitation continuing straight through, and we have a little bit of a gap there to dry out the roads on Friday morning. In the wake of the system, as it pulls away, we're just going to be dry and cold for the remainder of the holiday. So Christmas Eve is some places not getting out of the teens for highs and single-digit lows overnight, but other places will get into at least the low 20s on Saturday. And then Sunday we go up maybe 2 degrees or so, which is Christmas Day. Not much of an improvement, but the winds do calm down here on Sunday. Mostly sunny Sunday, mostly sunny here on Monday. And we're going to start to gradually increase those temperatures as we head toward Tuesday. Tuesday is going to be the first day we get back above freezing, I think. Okay, so Monday's still below freezing for highs everywhere. Tuesday we'll get back into the 30s again. And we're going to have to keep an eye on this little system here. It's not showing much right now, but there is some energy in the vicinity. Might be able to get some snow showers of this maybe on Tuesday night. So we'll continue to keep an eye on that as well, but it doesn't look like a big deal right now, and not all models have that. So we'll see. We'll see how that works out. I'm EPAWA meteorologist Bobby Marchis. That is your outlook for December 21st, 2022. Have a great Wednesday.